All right. Next up, we have Steve Androulakis from Nectar. Steve, can you come up, please? Steve has been working with the Australian National E-Research Collaboration Tools and Resources Nectar. 10 years experience working in e-research, and he is formerly a software developer in a structural biology lab, and he has spent time obsessed with accelerating research through better handling of data.
Thank you.
All right, and he is here to speak to us about the Australian research communities in the age of data-driven science. Thank you, Steve.
Thanks. Right, so I'll be extra quick. I'm really just trying to stoke some discussion and some recognition of the real gap in this whole area when it comes to skills. And so it's kind of coming from an Australian perspective, but the things that we've learned in our very early days of trying to solve this problem are probably fairly universal, but you can tell me that at the end. But firstly, a little bit about Nectar, the organization I work for, and me. I had a very nice intro about me, so I can kind of skip that part, I guess. I do work for the 3 logos above. By next year, those logos are going to merge into one kind of super funding body for data. But right now, I want to talk about Nectar, which is the cloud funding body, and we do 2 things. We run a federated OpenStack cloud in 8 different locations around the country. It's about 50,000 cores, and the researchers tend to like us for that. We have some street cred, I guess. But the other thing we do is we fund directly, we fund projects, which we call them virtual labs, but they're pretty analogous to science gateways, and we fund them in many different domains. In fact, we fund them in humanities as well. So that's just kind of what we do, and I'm kind of more across on the virtual lab side than anything. I ripped this from a report that's yet to come out from someone I know in Australia who I think got it right. I've kind of highlighted what I see to be where things are going and the problems we're having. So there's an increasing set of options in methods, software, infrastructure, and providers. I think that's universal across all domains. It's getting more complex, diverse, and it's evolving at a rapid pace. So therefore, skills, developing skills, upkeep of skills, engagement, and community building is increasingly important. There's just this gulf between, like, all of a sudden, I came from bioinformatics most recently, and if the thing between you getting your gene sequencing data or getting insight into it, is data capabilities, and your supervisor has a lab background, then what do you do? Basically, that happened all the time, and we need to fill this gap somehow. So the Australian government's kind of recognised that even though we fund infrastructure, we fund developers to create things, it's also important to fund skills. So we're trying to nut it out. And when I say skills, people go, oh, does that mean software carpentry? Does that mean data carpentry? Yes, yes. Does that mean data management and data lifecycle training? Yes. Does this mean webinars? Yes. Does this mean, getting together and having a beer? Yes. So I mean everything. I took this from one of the workshops we ran on, I think, RNA-seq analysis, which is a particular bioinformatics technique. So that's a very hands-on thing we did. So we've only been jumping into this for the last month, and we thought it was important to go around and talk to people around the country and get an idea of what they think skills means and what they feel like, how we could help perhaps. So we spoke to 6 people so far, and then I went here and kind of interrupted it all. A training program manager and an infrastructure funder, so they fund a particular domain. I've put through names to protect the innocent. A researcher, a director of a library, a director of a society in a particular kind of research, a data carpentry and software carpentry advocate and trainer, and a project manager of one of our virtual lab funded projects in one of the research domains. So we kind of just asked them a set of questions. We interviewed them over an hour, and I was kind of sitting in the Starbucks on the weekend, confusing the people over espresso mostly, because you guys like have milk in your coffee, and kind of he was really confused, the guy in South End. But I kind of, if out of these 6 people, if they said the same thing, you know, more than 3 times, so if more than half of the people said one of these things, I kind of just wrote it down. And so here's kind of my first pass of what the community is saying. So almost all of them said digital literacy is generally low. And if you've heard this kind of digital natives kind of thing, you know, oh, the kids, they're gonna know how to do it. No, it's rubbish. They know how to Snapchat. They don't know what a file is. They can't read an analog clock, by the way. So I mean, so they're kind of losing skills. So you can't take it for granted that they're going to be fine in the software world, in the code world, and in the analysis world. You just can't. Researchers are unaware of data management practice, and they don't know where to start. I think that's come up a few times here today and yesterday. Demand for training is really high. We would run a Python workshop and only vaguely advertise it throughout a university, and it'd be sold out within about 5 hours, guaranteed every time. It's not just for researchers. Libraries, government and industry also want this and also ask universities for this. We had to turn them away often because our main focus was research. Discipline specific is great. I mean, you can run an intro to Python and not couch it in any discipline, but if I ran Python for bioinformatics in my old faculty, you know, you get 3 times as many inquiries just for using the right words. And so if you can also couch the training in discipline-specific examples, and that's powerful. Researchers, yeah, this takes time. A lot of people come into these things expecting to be an expert in 2 days. That just doesn't work. Software and data management literacy is a whole topic of its own. I stressed that at the start when I was running workshops in my previous life. And I guess they just need touch points over time to keep up with things. They need a support network, I guess. So we can do something about that. And the second learnings is it's kind of good exposure for your software or science gateway or something. If you can train people on it, it drives usage. Done and paid for on the side. There's rarely budget specifically for this kind of stuff, particularly in development projects, at least in Australia. We had a national funder who funds big instruments and big use of those instruments nationally, you know, $100 million or something like that. And they use the interest from that money to pay for their training. Like they literally use the interest generated in the bank for the training because they're not allowed to otherwise. We hear this all the time. Hard to find venues, that's an obvious one, particularly in semester. It's time consuming for the trainer. There's no recognition or reward often for these people. They're doing it out of the good of their hearts. Materials development is time consuming and you have to update it. And pedagogy, so learning how to teach and learning how people learn, is actually, it really pays dividends. Anyone we've put through that in various ways, you know, we flew a bunch of people to the UK once to learn how to do that and you know, really paid dividends. Okay, so concluding some thoughts. So this is how, as a national kind of infrastructure funder, I think we can help, and this is kind of what will come out in the report, and hopefully will change the way we work a little bit. So can we make this kind of stuff a first-class output in our projects? You know, if we pay money for the generation of features and content and stuff like that. You know, if you write code, we will pay you for that. Can we pay you to also create training materials and run events? Can we influence good practice around training material creation? Can we influence good practice around pedagogy? Since we're like a central coordinating influence in a way, can we do something to help that? Can we support and promote experts who sacrifice their time? So like I said, these people are often unrecognized and often taking time away from their own research or development to teach. This is a problem. Can we sponsor them? Can we make them champions? And can we promote them? And finally, can we integrate data lifecycle training into stuff like software carpentry? I know that you start Git in software carpentry, but that's only, you know, really this much of the research management lifecycle. Can we kind of sneak in some best practice there? Can we support our undergrads? The undergraduate courses in Australia, at least, are, you know, the most confused out of all of this. They kind of they've been blindsided by this need and don't know where to start. And can we support professionals like my old career, which was a research kind of software engineer, and other support people, data librarians and that? Can we directly support these people as well and improve their skills? So one of the reasons I wanted to use Google Drive is because you can stick GIFs in it. And I thought I had to do something jingoistic at the end and Australian. I came all this way. So I was hoping to stoke discussion, but I kind of wasted a lot of time with getting the presentation going. So maybe you can speak to me at the break and share your ideas and experiences, but thanks.
Yeah, a question. Here, at least here in the U.S., there's lots of data management best practices or training for data. And since this is a software preservation workshop, do you see, or what type of training needs to be added to that specifically for software preservation or curation? Or any thoughts on that?
I think that a lot of people, someone said it yesterday, a lot of people don't reach out for that in research until it's too late, until they absolutely need it. And then they kind of panic. They're a bit more preemptive about the skills in analysis and for their domain and for code. So I'm sort of coming at this idea and developing this idea that if you can lump them together and sort of have, a boot camp almost in, just between 2 and 4 days of intensive, then you have an opportunity to sub in some of these best practices. The stuff that's really coming out of libraries and really coming out of actually computer science departments and stuff like that. Just really, because otherwise you'll have these people coming along and everyone knows these kind of people. They know how to analyze stuff in Python. They know a bit of statistics. They can produce plots, but their files are everywhere. They can barely use Git. They don't know where to preserve anything. They've got copies upon copies of whatever they've done. And so we really just need to add some of that